thank you. All right, well, happy Monday, everyone, huh? Yeah. So let's get into it. The NAACP has issued a formal travel warning. What's going on here? No, actually, really, what is going on?
Oh,
what is
Greg,
this?
I think I know what the problem is. I'll take care of it.
All right, Joe.
I can't believe this. They know we're taping a show. I bet this doesn't happen during Outnumbered. Dana, come on, we're trying to film a show.
Oh, I apologize. Wait, hold on. Gino, take 5. I'm just adding a little ink to my guns here. Please apologize to Greg. I thought your show got canceled.
I'm always the last to know.
What do you think of the art? Do you think that looks good?
They look pretty wicked. I gotta go.
She's got some guns on her, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Back to the news, I think. Where am I? Okay. The NAACP has issued a formal travel advisory for the state of Florida. And why, you ask? Is it the weather, the crime? Is it meth-addicted iguanas falling from the sky? I wish I'd save so much on meals and drugs. No, it's because if you go to Florida, you might just stay there, and that can't happen. They say, quote, Governor Ron DeSantis' aggressive attempts to erase black history and restrict diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in Florida schools. That's the reason. All right, first, it's not true. Black history is being taught. But the rest of it's actually kind of a compliment. I mean, accusing Florida of restricting DEI programs, that's like accusing me of restricting chlamydia. So glad I can't pronounce it. But you should thank me, because the only equity diversity creates is ensuring that all races are illiterate. But they claim there's not enough diversity, and that's a threat to your physical health, without evidence at all. But it's weird the NAACP does a travel advisory. I do love it, though, when they report on ski conditions. But, you know, maybe stay in your lane on this. I don't go to Jiffy Lube for their take on no cash bail. So before I criticize the NAACP, I should point out that I'm not black. But unlike some late-night hosts, I won't pretend to be either. So here's the rest of the advisory. Quote, Florida is openly hostile toward African Americans, people of color, and LGBTQ plus individuals. Before traveling to Florida, please understand that the state devalues and marginalizes the contributions of and the challenges faced by African Americans and other communities of color. So openly hostile, what does that even mean? What, do white people just spring out from behind bushes and scream, "We love khakis"? It's true, we do. But where's the proof? I mean, have you been to Miami? It's hardly the cast of Friends. And their tourism industry is thriving. Over 37 million people have visited the state so far this year. And I'm pretty sure they weren't all white, were they? I mean, some of them even look like this. He was there. And they definitely weren't all straight. If Key West got any gayer, the airport would be in a pottery barn. So more people moved to Florida in 2022 than any other state. And they're not just going to Disney World to see Mickey transition into Minnie. They're sticking around. And why? Well, it's turning red, it's freer, and it's good for everyone. Contrast that with Democrat-run states like California, New York, and Illinois, which had the largest net domestic outmigration in that same time period. I haven't seen that many people run screaming since Kilmeade removed his shirt at the gym. In other words, even Dems don't want to live in the mess they created. You know, they may be morons, but they're not stupid. Even Gavin Newsom went to Florida, and we can tell because we followed the trail of hair gel. But again, what is exactly happening to black people who travel to Florida? The NAACP's dire warnings doesn't say. Perhaps because nothing is happening except good things. And in a state that's exploding red, you can't have that. So you need a lie, one that the media gobbles up. And the fact is, this is a stunt that offers no helpful advice because it's not meant to. President Derek Johnson revealed that this advisory is really about getting people they don't like out of office.
This problem is a result of an election. It would only be fixed as a result of an election. So we are preparing now for future elections, not only against Governor DeSantis, but other policymakers who hold this point of view. If we don't stop this trend now, we will not have an American that's recognizable 5 years from now.
Yeah, it's all going to be gone. So, yeah, it's a stunt. And it would remain a harmless one if its phony warning doesn't take up space for real ones. You know, like for states where crime's insane and inflation drains your savings. See, unlike Dem-run cities, Florida isn't experiencing an actual crime epidemic, which explains how threats are now defined as being misgendered, and you're being told that your ideas are ridiculous and historical facts are wrong. But the only true threat to blacks isn't Florida laws, it's crime, and it's inflation. Two things the Dems can create out of thin air. And it's a threat to all of us. And that's the real fear that the left worries about now, that their disastrous social and economic policies might in fact unite every person of different creeds and colors against their own desire to create a Marxist dystopia. So you need to create a new amorphous threat, the kind that doesn't show up in crime stats or in morgues. So the NAACP is lying to blacks, but for a reason. They don't want them to catch on that Florida is a great state for all kinds of people, especially those who don't see themselves as victims. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He says he's a pedagogist, but he refuses to examine my feet. Philosopher Peter Boghossian. She's a communications whiz in the election biz. Communications director at Never Back Down PAC, Aaron Perini. He's the funniest guy who was already in the building. Comedian Joe Mackey. And she's like a bowl of chili. Kinda hot, but causes gas. Fox News contributor Kat Tibbs. All right, Peter, was this a clever little prank by the NAACP, or was it kind of cloying and desperate? What do you see it?
It's interesting, you know, the head of the NAACP lives in Tampa.
Right.
So, I mean, how dangerous could it possibly be?
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So what else?
No, so I do think that the landscape has become so polarized that instead of being honest about the problem, as you mentioned in your monologue, about the number one reason for violence among dead black males, among black males, is the homicide by other black males.
Right.
And we're not willing to be honest about the problem. And the consequence of that is, if you're not honest about the problem, that you can never solve it.
Right.
And so this should not be a political issue. This is an American issue.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we're facing in the polarization.
Yeah, I feel like they have to create a lie because the solution doesn't include a lot of these activists, right? Because they don't have the solution. They never have.
Well, it's not politically correct to talk about facts and statistics. Again, as you said in your monologue, we want to side skirt the whole issue of what the facts are and go to people's lived experiences.
Yeah. Speaking of lived experiences, Joe, you have none. Have you ever been to Florida? It's that state down south.
Many times, Greg, including when we rocked it at the Patriot Awards earlier this year.
Oh, we rocked it, didn't we?
I rocked it.
Yeah.
Greg,
I don't think I rocked it.
You rocked it a little bit, and I'm not just saying that because you're my boss and you'll fire me if I don't. But this reminds me of like when someone makes a personal ad, and instead of using their photo, they use Pete Hegseth's photo.
Right.
Because what's going to happen is people are going to go to Florida and they're going to be like, well, every ethnicity has their own all-you-can-eat buffet. It's pretty fair for everybody there. And what they're doing is gambling on their reputation. And gambling on your reputation, that's like a married couple that has an affair. I've seen it so many times. Those husbands are not going to forgive their wives.
I love that.
Yeah, it went over my head, but now I'm understanding it. Aaron, why do you think they did this? Is it just all about DeSantis trying to get, because he's going to declare? Is that the reason?
Absolutely. There has been a media narrative that has gone after the governor because he's really unafraid of fights, and this is just one of them, right? You saw it with the Don't Say Gay bill. When it comes to stepping up and stepping in and fighting against indoctrination, Governor DeSantis has really led on that, and he's unafraid. He really doesn't stop until he wins. So that's what you see there. And to your point about the head living in Tampa, 5 members of the board went to Florida from the NAACP. If they really find it to be such a threatening place to be, then they shouldn't vacation there. But again, this isn't about an actual policy position. This is about them making noise. And you continue to see the media grab at it and say, yes, this is the problem, when it's not. The problem is they don't like the governor because he's not afraid to say, hey, you know what? You shouldn't indoctrinate children. You shouldn't indoctrinate in schools like that. And so we're not in Florida. We're going to make sure that you don't. And that's what you saw. And I'm sorry that they still enjoy Florida, even if the NAACP says you shouldn't.
Yeah, I don't think anybody is taking it.
It's not even in the top 10. It's not even in the top list of states in which black-on-black violence is highest, right? Mm-hmm. And so the consequence of that is you'll have more young dead black men. Mm-hmm. But they haven't issued travel advisories against other states. Yeah. They haven't said anything about
it's pure politics.
It's political.
All
but
political.
the consequence of that politics is that people die. Right? So it's not a joke and it's not a game. Yeah. People will die because of this.
Yeah, you know, Florida is highest on hot senior-on-senior action at the Village. Right, Kat? You've been...
I believe that is true.
It is true. We looked at you and I looked at the data, and it was surprising.
Yeah.
Yes. Where do you fall on this? Do you find that this might be the kind of the left-wing mirror of like us telling people to get out of New York and get out? Like when we talk about states and their crime problem, they flip it and they go, well, you have a social problem. You're racist.
See, I don't care. I would go live in a state where there was like a press briefing that verbally abused me every single day if it meant that I didn't get my income tax taken.
Yeah. Yes.
Like,
yeah.
I would put up with a lot. I don't like a lot of the stuff that Ron DeSantis has been doing with like the Stop Woke Act and those sorts of things, just because I love the First Amendment a lot, and I think that it's a dangerous precedent to be saying that entire ideas should be banned. Even when they're as dumb as some of these ideas, quite honestly. Diversity training is not just that there's no proof that it saves lives. There's actually no proof it does anything.
Right.
There's actually multiple studies that say it actually makes things worse than they already are.
And we still have it in every corporation.
We still have it everywhere.
But it does. It pits people against each other in businesses. It introduces really disturbing kind of like, I don't know, a politics of envy wherever you go. And so when you're like, people suddenly develop a suspicion towards other coworkers or just other students because they think, well, if they don't look like me, what do they think about me?
Yeah, name the biggest jerk that you've ever encountered in your life. They've probably been to diversity training because everybody has at this point. And so, it's one of the dumbest things ever. But what are you going to do? So that's what life is, too.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I'm glad you ended it on that note.
If I may, the reason that people like Chris Rufo and others want to ban it is because you have a choice of free speech or diversity boards. The diversity boards are directly against any kind of free speech. So it's not that you're banning an idea, it's that you're banning a mechanism that prevents people from speaking openly and honestly. That's the impetus behind the bills, DeSantis's bill to...
In your face, Kat. Professor just crushed you like a bug.
I guess I disagree. I agree with you, but I also disagree that the government should be making laws about speech.
Forgive me, but this isn't a debate show. It's not. Well, it could be. What do you think, Joe?
Look, I just thought it was very interesting that he said the country's going to be unrecognizable in 5 years, and he might be right if Joe Biden gets reelected.
Yeah. On that note, good red meat. A woke substitution for criminal prosecution.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.